I want to welcome everyone out to our little teaching summit today, and it's quite the privilege that we have Craig Hocknull being able to join us today. I mean, especially with such an intimate little group. Todd Brinkman and I were just chatting about it. It's like anytime we come listen to you, plus with this small of a group, I'm sure you can have some good. I don't know if you do this, but Q&A, I would imagine this is going to be, this will be good that we can do that. And Craig definitely has the pedigree and the background as far as teaching goes. He was our teacher of the year in 2020. I believe it was 2014 that you were in Southwest section. But the other thing that's I think is something that separates him a little bit from maybe other teachers is he's a really good player. And so I think that is something that's very important for all of our games, your games, and then your students too. Kind of getting a little feel of out on the golf course. You've got your different training aids. Saber Golf, I believe, is what it is that Craig has created, and lots of different stuff. I love seeing training aids. I love seeing drills. I love seeing things that can help us teach better and be better teachers. So, Craig, I don't know if I missed anything, but I'm sure we're going to get a lot of knowledge over the next few hours. So thanks so much again for doing it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate you insulting all of these other teachers that are bad players.
Oh, no, I didn't do that one. We got a lot of good players.
Oh, we have all the best players in here.
That's good. That might be a little something that they knew you were doing it. So that's great.
And all very good teachers too. So, thank you, Devin. Obviously, it's a privilege anytime you get to speak to any kind of a group, especially your peers. It's always exciting for me to just be able to share, be able to help. I'm here to help, right? So if I can help in any way, that's my goal today. A couple things. Originally, I kind of created this whole PowerPoint presentation on theories and all that kind of stuff, which we can get into. But what I've decided to do, since it's a little bit smaller group and everybody in here is a really good teacher and good player, we're going to kind of workshop this a little bit, have a little bit more interaction. So did everybody get a packet already? Okay, good deal. So in your packet, we're just going to jump right into it. I don't think I need to expand any more on who I am and what I do. I'm here to help you. It's more about you guys. So that first slide right here is going to be, let's be students, right? So I want you to put your minds in the mindset of a student, not in the mindset of a teacher. Okay, you all paid money to come and listen to me speak. The question is, are you going to actually get the value out of it, right? So take a look at the next slide there. So this is where it's going to get a little bit interactive. So you're going to start this on your own, and then my goal is to actually split everybody up and kind of have conversations together. What we'll probably end up doing is switching the chairs around so you can sit face to face, and we'll just kind of line everybody up. So we got 5, 6. It's going to work out perfectly. We're going to end up splitting into groups of 2, kind of having conversations together, right? But I don't want you to sit with your coworkers or your brothers, or we're going to split you guys up, okay? So the first question is, if you were paying X, whatever that amount of money is, for a lesson with me, right? So think about, you're the student, I'm the coach. That X dollar amount, I want you to put your dollar amount. Whatever you currently charge for a lesson, I want you to write that in there. And then in this space, we won't take a ton of time, but in this space, I want you to list all the things that you'd like to get out of the lesson to make you feel like it was worth it, right? So if you're paying me $300 for an hour, what do you want to get out of it, right? And I want you to actually think about this from your real, true, honest perspective, right? We all have probably played golf recently. Think about that last round of golf. Think about that time, that you hit a shot or a putt or your club fitting question or whatever it is. Think about your round and just jot down some things specifically to you as a student. If you were paying me this amount of money, whatever that is, what do you want to get out of it? Right, so we'll just take a minute. You guys can grab that pen and paper and just jot some stuff down, because as we go, we're going to take time to kind of make it interactive. So jot down some notes.
Does anybody need a pen?
It can be a couple simple words. You're only gonna see this part, but it's just maybe a couple of ideas pop into your head. You know, you may have missed a putt, you may have chunked a chip, you may have missed an iron shot, your flex in the driver shaft, you may not feel like it's quite right, or whatever, something along those lines, but make it personal to you and something that you would actually like to do better at. So the purpose of this is obviously to put yourself in the place of the student. You know, I don't think we really do that enough as teachers, right? So that's why I'm kind of spearheading this, making us think a little bit differently about our role. We're always on the other side. You know, we're always behind the tee line while the student's on the tee line hitting shots or putts. And so, how's everybody doing? Got a couple notes in there? We're gonna add more to it on the next page, so. I'll give you another few seconds here. While I do that, I will tell you just a little bit. I've fortunately just got back from the National Club Pro Championship in Austin. So that particular tournament for me, obviously a National Club Pro Championship is something that I really focus hard on every year. And it's that type of an environment that spurs me to take my teacher hat off and put my student hat on. Like, what do I want to learn from it? What did that tournament and that environment and the shots that I hit, the experiences that I have, what did that inspire me to get better at, right? So that's just a way you can kind of look at that as well. I think anytime you filter your thoughts through pressure, right? If you put yourself in the most pressure-packed situation, I got to 2 under on the final round, and I was basically within 1 stroke of finishing in that top 20. And I'm out on, you know, one of the holes. It was like probably my 13th, 14th hole, somewhere in there. And I'm at 2 under on a really, really tough day. And I've jumped up probably at that point, I didn't look at the number. I jumped up probably 40 spots in that round. Then all of a sudden the TV cameras show up. So when a camera shows up, you kind of know you're doing something good. But that doesn't make it more comfortable for you, right? So all of a sudden, I've reached a par 5 and 2. I'm just off the side of the green. I chipped my ball. It was a really tricky chip. Chip it up. There was a hole there where there's just a huge rock face wall in front. And I hit my drive down there on hard pan, and I had to hit a 3-wood and like pick it clean off of this dirt patch, and managed to get it in the right side of the green. Then I see the camera show up. They park on the back of the green. Now I've got to hit this delicate little chip. I chip it to the high side, so now I've got a downhill. Don't know really if it's breaking right to left, left to right, or straight, but it's fast, super fast, and I've got to get up there with the cameras on me and make the putt. I make the putt. They all rush off to the next tee. I walk up the hill, get to the next tee, and sure enough, cameras on me again. And I know they're following me because the guy on the camera, he's propped up his camera, and while the other guys are hitting, he's on his phone, like this. So then I hit a shot down the middle of the fairway. I'm a little bit more excited because I think, okay, if they're out here, I'm not looking at the leaderboard. If they're out here, I must be doing something good. Straight downwind, but I got to hit a 9-iron from 170 yards up a hill, but I know it's downwind, so I'm trying to factor all that in. I fly it to the back edge of the green, and it bounces over the green, and now I'm on an upslope. They film all that and then leave, because they probably know he's probably not going to get up and down from the back of that green, which I hit a great flop shot to about 8 feet, miss it, bogey. Get on the next hole, good drive, miss the green left, chip it to about 8 feet, miss it. So now I go from 2 under to even par. By that time, the cameras have said, bye, we're out here. Right? Nonetheless, even par on that final day jumped me up 22 spots. I basically missed the top 20 by a full 3 strokes, but I had it to within 1 with a few holes to go. So anyway, that's the filter that should be pushing you. So I see familiar faces in here from playing golf even yesterday in our team match play. That's the kind of stuff you're thinking of if it's fresh, right? All right, so next page. Right? So now we get a little deeper. Now you have to ask yourself a question: why do you want to achieve that? Right? So you've identified a problem, you've put it up there, you've said, okay, I think this is a problem. Well, there's got to be a why. There's got to be a reason why you're trying to fix it, right? So just make a list of things in here, the reasons why you chose that, right? So in my case, I left Austin knowing that my standard chipping was pretty good, but my tough chipping was not very good. Fortunately, yesterday, I was able to make a really nice flop shot on the back of hole number 9 and get up and down. That was really hard for me because my really tough short game shots were gone. And that's unfortunately what I was faced with a lot in Austin, was just all these crazy chip shots, because you're just trying to not hit a ball in the penalty area. The ground could be super firm, a little bit bare. You've got some Bermuda in there, you got some ryegrass, and it was just really difficult once you put yourself in that. So jot down those reasons why. Like, why do you think it's important to improve that one thing on the first page? So the first page was, I came to Craig to learn this, right? What is it? This is what I want to learn. And then the next page is why. Like, why do I want to learn it? Is it going to make me more money in the next tournament? It's going to save me more, less stress. Okay. So then the next page, right? So there's a why. Then the next page, so go ahead and flip your page over there. And then the next question, is that it, right? Is that really it? Is that the one thing that you really want to improve on? Now you've established why you want to improve it. Now what I want you to do is take a quick little minute and jot down some goals. So list out the goals that you have for your game in this manner, right? So we're going to think about the immediate summer of 2022. You came to me for a lesson. You're expecting to get this out of the lesson. The reason why you've written down. Now just jot down a quick goal. 2022. The reason why I want to do this is because, and you may not, the previous answer may not have been goal related, so that's why this is goal related. So jot down a goal for you, and then look at the year end 2022, then project out a couple years, 2024, by the end of 2030. We don't have to go there today, but this is kind of a good process for you to go through, because believe it or not, a small percentage of your students are actually kind of doing this. They're not really writing it down, but they're coming to you as a teacher, and they've already got all this figured out, haven't they? Right? A lot of times they've come to you, they've said, okay, I just retired from my executive job. Now I've got 1 year. I was gifted these great Callaway clubs as a retirement gift, and my goal is to get from here to here. I've got 1 year to do it, and then we're going to go on a year vacation and travel around the world. Right? That may not be realistic for everybody's students, but that's just an example of, right? People have thought through this, and that's why, as a student, I'm asking you to think through this. So jot down a couple of those goals in there. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions they want to just add if you've already written something down? Has anybody recently done this on their own? Kind of gone through that? Bruce done that? I think if you don't have a focus and a direction, something else will have your focus and your direction, right? So that's one of my goals of this particular session, is to help you all as players play better with your own game. And then the stuff that you garner from that, you can then just transfer that right along to your students and teach better. So if you're not being specific with your focus and your time and your energy, something else is going to distract you, because there's plenty of distractions out there, right? All of a sudden, you haven't written any of this stuff down. All of a sudden, you're flipping through Instagram and you see the swing move of the week, and then you're like, well, maybe I'll just do that. Maybe that, maybe that'll help me. Or you flip onto Craig Hocknull Golf YouTube channel and you're like, I'm just gonna watch all of Craig's videos. I'm gonna binge watch all 434 videos, and then I'm gonna be better, right?
Which is like Mike Bender the last week.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Right, up the wall. I've watched it all too. All right, so very good. Okay, now, next one. flip your page. Okay, now I want you to think about how much time and effort is required to kind of accomplish those things that you wrote down, right? Think about what you want to achieve and how much time, effort, and money it would take to achieve your longer term goals. How many lessons do you think it would take to achieve just your summer goal, So you got your long-term goal, throw a number in there, it's going to cost me $1.5 million to achieve all of my long-term goals, whatever that is. And then think about your most recent, your 2022 goal, just like how many lessons do you think it would take? Like if you said, Craig, I need your help with this, putting's kind of an expertise of mine, so I need your help with putting. Just think about, if I was to get really where I wanted to go for summer 2022, how many hours, how many lessons do I think it would actually take Craig to get me better to achieve my goal, right? So it's just kind of a thought there. And the first one is just in general, like I've got these long-term goals for 2 years from now, 8 years from now, what am I going to actually accomplish? And how much money and time and effort do you think it's going to take me to do that? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we think about it like this, do we? Right? Who just raise your hand. If you only started, and this is going to be a little silly at the beginning, but if you only started playing golf 5 years ago, right? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, right? 40 years ago, 45 years ago, 42 years ago, 50 years ago. 46, okay? So in that period of time, whatever it is for you, how much of that time were you a student versus a teacher, if you look at it? And how many lessons have you taken in the last 5 years, right? So I think sometimes when we're on that side of the lesson tee and we're teaching someone to do all of this, there's nothing wrong with it at all for us to be the expert. We are the expert, that's why they're here. We've garnered all this knowledge and information over that period of time, but I think sometimes we just forget what it feels like to be them. Now, you may have gone and gotten a lesson recently, which I give you credit for. You may have gone and sat with someone and had them help you. And if you haven't, I would encourage you to do that. And you don't need to necessarily, I know one of our peers recently went out to California and spent some time with George Gankus, right? So you don't necessarily have to fly out and talk to Mike Bender or whoever it is, right? But get a lesson from someone on your team, right? One of the things I try to do at Glenwild is I've set up an instructor training program for our apprentices and our associate members, right? And our interns that are coming in. So what I do every summer is just basically just a summer program for the interns and then a year-long program for the assistants. I have to go watch them and they have to come watch me. And I used to say, oh yeah, just come on out. Come on out, watch me whenever you want. And that didn't happen because we're all busy, right? The last thing you want to do as an assistant is spend all day in the shop or help run a tournament or whatever it is and then go find Craig at the end of the day and watch. Or you're tired, you want to go home. So what I started doing is I started looking at their schedule and saying, hey, look, I see on the schedule that you're open here. I'm going to come watch you teach just to be more purposeful with that. And then one thing that I try to do as a coach is I try to coach my assistants on their games, right? Arthur Hughes is one of our assistants and he's my partner in the team event. And the reason why we're partners together is because I want to help him and coach him. So just over the last winter, he's probably picked up 20, 30 yards on his driver. He's probably picked up a full club to club and a half on his irons. His putting is much better. And so now he's super excited. We, after the match play, we drove home together and he couldn't tell me how excited he was. Not just that I was helping him cash a check in a section event for one of the first times ever, but he's excited about his game and he's going to play better. And that goes for Mark Valenti as well. We've been working hard on his game. And he waved at me on the range yesterday before we teed off, and he's like, look. Because if anybody's ever played with Mark, he gets this, or he had this, right? And he bombs it, but if he played a tree-lined course, like if this is a fairway right here, he'd clip the branches off of that tree, and then it would land on this side of the green over here, right? But now he's figuring out how to play like a little bit of a push fade. So that's exciting for me. So put yourself in that student mindset. All right. Okay, next page. Okay, so how would you feel, this is a feeling thing now, how would you feel if these things happened, right? You learn more than you wanted and are amazed at the results. So thinking through the last page, you're like, okay, 2022 summer goals, I think it's going to take me 5 lessons to get this thing fixed. And then the first one, you're like, hey, Craig knocked it out in 1 lesson. Right, you're completely amazed. Not only did he reveal to you that this is the exact fix and then you're done and you're on your way, but he also revealed these other things that I wasn't even looking for. Like, how would you feel? Just put a feeling word down in there. It's all probably going to be the same, like excited, mind blown, right? Go ahead and jot that down in there. Next one. So how would you feel if you learned exactly what you wanted to learn in the lesson, right? So you came asking for this, and you got exactly that. Like, what's a feeling that you would put in there? Next one. You learned some good things, but not exactly what you wanted to learn, right? Or fix. You came, you learned some good things, but it was like, I really came for this, and didn't quite get it, right? Close, but good things, but not exactly what I wanted. Next thing, you learned none of what you wanted to learn. You came to my lesson, you're like, that guy, he just talked, he told stories the whole time, and I walked away and I was like, what a waste of money. Like, I didn't learn anything at all, right? So how would you feel? These are feelings. And then what you learned in the lesson made you frustrated and worse off, right? So not only did you come to the lesson, but you left like, oh, now I'm hitting it even worse. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced. Like, how would you feel in that situation? So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. We've all had these things happen as teachers, right? As a teacher, put your teacher hat on now. Every single one of these has happened to us. We've stood there and given just an amazing lesson, and the student's like, wow, I can't believe it. You're amazing as a coach. And then we've had the bottom one where even we are like, probably need to give you your money back, or help you find a different coach, or maybe I need to leave the state, or you need to leave the state, right? There's something going on in there, and those are very few and far between, and they're maybe more in the past than the present. But we can all think back to, at least one time in our lives where that's happened. All right, so next page. All right, now we're going to be coaches. So in this exercise, what I want to do, and we'll just kind of use this space right here. I think this could kind of work. So I'm going to split you right here in this spot. And then if you want to just take your chair and just sit in front of Terry at the end and so on, and just face each other. And just you don't have to get super close, but at least we're not wearing masks right now. So yeah, move your chair, introduce yourself, meet a new person. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can spread out. You can move your chairs apart. Spread out a little bit. So we got yeah, one more here. I like Nick Owen one. Here's a chair. All right. Yeah, I'll give you a second. Just introduce yourselves. All right, so now flip it to that question. After it's how to be coaches, flip it to that next page. How do you give the student what they want? Work with your partner on their summer 2022 goal and come up with a few simple sentences on what you believe needs to happen to achieve the goal at hand. Okay? So share the 2022 summer goal with that person opposite you. And the way we'll do this is we'll just split it in half. So you guys on this back row, you share first, okay, on this side, share your goal. And then if you're on this side, write down on the paper your answer of how you're going to fix or help them with their goal. And then once you're done, you can flip it back the other way. All right, go for it.